Hello guys, welcome back to another Genshin video. Today, I'm going to be doing a guide over, in my opinion, one of the best supports in the game, Xiangling. Xiangling provides a lot of power damage for your team and can proc off some amazing reactions. So yeah, let's get on with the guide. For those who don't know, Xiangling is a pyro staff user, and when you ascend her, she actually gains elemental mastery. In order to ascend her, you need the Everflame Seed, which comes from the Power Regis Vine. You need Jayan Chilies, which are found in Kinsei Village, and found in the wild around Liyue. And you need Slime Concentrate. Now let's get into her talents. Her normal attack is just a basic 5 consecutive strikes with her spear. And then her charge attack is actually like the drilling formation that makes her fly in the sky, which actually looks pretty funny. Now her first talent, Goba Attack. She summons Goba the Panda, and Goba continually breathes fire at opponents, dealing AoE power damage. This ability is really good at proccing pyro and getting pyro particles for your whole entire team, especially for Xiangling. As you can see right here, it also has a cooldown of 12 seconds. Now Xiangling's Pyro Nado is actually insane. Basically, her elemental burst sends out a Pyro Nado whirling around the active character. As it circles around your active character, it will actually do power damage to all opponents. And now here are the scalings for the elemental burst, because as she does her elemental burst, she does some swings and then falls out the Pyro Nado. So you can see the swing scaling and then the Pyro Nado damage, which is 213%, which can actually happen a lot of times because it rolls around you for 10 seconds. But you can extend that duration by 4 seconds in a further constellation. It has a cooldown of 20 seconds but has an energy cost of 80, so you really do want to build energy recharge on your Xiangling. It's one of the highest energy costs in the game. Her first passive, called Crossfire, just increases the range of Goba by 20%, which is really nice. Her next passive, Beware, is super hard. It's basically when Goba ends, it'll spawn a chili pepper at its place. And picking up the chili pepper increases attack by 10% for 10 seconds. So she also gets the chance to boost the attack of your team, which is really nice. And then the last one is when Xiangling cooks her attack boosting dish perfectly, she has a 12% chance to receive double the product. Now let's take a look at Xiangling's constellations. Certain constellations on Xiangling makes it really even better than before. So our first constellation is when opponents hit by Goba will have their power resistance reduced by 50% for 6 seconds. Which is just a nice overall buff and is really easy to proc. Just have down a Goba and then their power res is reduced. The second constellation, Aura Meets Fire, is more for a main DPS Xiangling. But basically, the last attack in her normal attack sequence applies an implode status onto the opponent for 2 seconds. And when it explodes, it will do 75% of Xiangling's attack as AoE power damage. So the last hit on an attack would just basically have a 2-second time bomb. So it's pretty nice if you're running main DPS Xiangling. Constellation 3 of course just increases the level of the Pyro Nado. And Constellation 4 is the best constellation for support Xiangling by far. Increases Pyro Nado's duration by 40%. Which just tags on another 4 seconds to your burst. So now your burst has a total of 14-second duration, which is honestly insane. 4 seconds may not seem a lot to you, but when you use this ability, it really shows how much extra time you actually get from this constellation. Her Constellation 5 just increases the level of her Goba, and her Constellation 6, for the duration of Pyro Nado, all party members will receive a 50% power damage bonus. This could be great if you have a main DPS power user like Hu Tao, Yoimiya, or Diluc. But of course, Constellation 4 is the most beneficial for support Xiangling. Now let's get into her weapons. For support Xiangling, she has so many staffs you can use. For one, if you want to use an elemental mastery build for your Xiangling, Dragon's Bane is by far the best one for her. It increases damage against opponents affected by Hydro or Pyro, and increases the elemental mastery. So it's just a great weapon overall. But also you have the Favonius Lance, because it actually has an energy recharge substat. It could also be really great for Xiangling as well. It helps generate energy for your whole entire team, and gives more energy recharge to your Xiangling, which is always nice. But if you don't have either of those weapons from the gacha system, you could use a prototype Starglitter, which actually has an energy recharge substat. This weapon's passive isn't really that good since we are going for a support Xiangling at the moment. So I just mainly get this weapon mainly for its energy recharge. There's also the new Inazuma craftable spear that was added to the game, which has an elemental mastery substat, which is actually pretty good for Xiangling if you want to build an elemental mastery build. And it actually increases the elemental skill damage by 6 seconds. And also, when you use the elemental skill, she loses 3 energy, but it regenerates 3 energy every 2 seconds for the next 6 seconds. Which means she loses 3 but gains 9 energy, so you get a net value of 6 energy. So this sphere could also not be pretty bad for your Xiangling as well. But also, as you probably know, There's a new stat that came with this update called the Catch, which has an energy recharge substat and one of the best passives in the game. It increases elemental burst damage by 16% and elemental burst crit rate by 6%. And that can also be scaled up, because right here are the refinement materials for the Catch. And if it is similar to the Festering Desire, that means the Catch is going to have a total of a 32% elemental burst increase and a crit rate increase by 12% on your elemental burst. This weapon is probably by far the best weapon you could have for a support Xiangling. Engulfing Lightning could also be a really great 5-star option for a support Xiangling as well. Increases energy recharge and increases your attack by a whole lot based on your energy recharge, which of course on a support Xiangling, you're going to be building energy recharge, trust me. So just to recap, so for a support Xiangling, definitely a Dragon's Bane, a Favonius Lance, or a Catch will be great on it. Now let's get into Xiangling artifacts. For a support Xiangling, the new Emblem of Severed Fate set is by far the best set for Xiangling. It's actually crazy. It increases energy recharge and increases the elemental burst damage by 25% of energy recharge, which you're going to be building a lot of energy recharge on your Xiangling, and the elemental burst is the best part of having a support Xiangling. So this is actually amazing. But then you could also do a 4-piece Noblesse Oblige set if you want to focus on more attack boosting your team, rather than increasing the damage of your actual Xiangling. You could also go 2-piece Crimson Witch of Flames and 2-piece Noblesse for more power damage bonus and elemental burst damage if you don't have a good set for a Noblesse or Severed Fate. Or you could do a 2-piece Emblem Severed Fate and 2-piece Crimson Witch or Noblesse, whichever one you want to do. And for your support Xiangling, you want to focus on crit rate, crit damage, and energy recharge. Those are by far going to be the best stats on your Xiangling. Because as you can see, I got crit damage, crit rate, energy recharge. And the sands on your Xiangling, you definitely want energy recharge. Especially if you're going to want the Emblem of Severed Fate set, you want as much energy recharge as you can to increase your elemental burst by even more damage. And also for a support Xiangling, you want a power damage bonus goblet, and then you want a crit rate or crit damage circlet. Depends on what your ratios are. For me, I have a crit damage circlet on. So to recap on the artifacts, you want to try to get a 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, 4-piece Noblesse, or one of the variations of the 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Crimson Witch, and 2-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. Now the best Xiangling teams, there's actually a lot of really good Xiangling teams you could do. You mainly want to have teams that can proc a lot of maybe Cryo and Hydro, so that your Power Tornado can do as much damage as it can during its duration. You are probably familiar with this team comp, because this is actually the national team that people came up with in Genshin Impact. It has the Xiangling with the Power Tornado going like crazy, and of course we have Xingqiu popping a lot of Hydro, and we have Xiangling popping a lot of Cryo. So there's a freeze comp in here, as well as a melt and vaporize comp for your Xiangling. And of course we have Bennett in here, which is just one of the best characters in the game, just boosting your attack, and he's also pyro, so you can proc off the pyro resonance as well. So this is a great example for a good team. Another good and pretty relevant team right here would be Raiden Shogun, Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Bennett. Because Raiden Shogun actually benefits a lot from Xiangling having a 80 energy cost burst, which helps fills up her resolve stacks. And then Xingqiu again to pop up a lot of Vaporize, and Bennett to increase their attack. So before you pop the Raiden Shogun's burst, you pop off Xiangling's and Xingqiu's burst. So that while you're in your sword state with Raiden Shogun, you have Xingqiu proccing Hydra everywhere, and Xiangling proccing Pyro everywhere, just going absolutely crazy. It's also a good idea to put Xiangling with Kaya because they both have elemental bursts that circle around the active character. And since they are Pyro and Cryo, it pops a whole lot of melt. After you have a Constellation 6 of Xiangling, which gives everyone in your party a 50% power damage boost throughout the Power Tornado duration, you can pair her up with a Diluc main DPS, Yoimiya, or a Hu Tao main DPS. So as you can see, there's a lot of teams you can put in with Xiangling. She's really flexible and fits in a lot of team comps. You could do Overload teams, Vaporize teams, Melt teams. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So once again, the best characters you want to team up with is people that can pop Cryo, Hydro, and Electro a lot, so that a Power Tornado can proc it all a lot of times. And if you have Constellation 6, a Pyro main DPS would be very appreciated. And yeah, that's basically all for the teams. That's basically all for today's Xiangling guide video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you now know what weapons, artifacts, and teams to put on with Xiangling. She's such an amazing support and she does so much power damage. And right now, she's on the Raiden Shogun's banner. So if you are waiting for Raiden Shogun, just know that you're about to get some amazing constellations on your Xiangling. Because she is actually free and everybody has it. So if you haven't built it yet, you're doing yourself a disjustice. Well, that's all for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye bye.